I didn't say whose weapons they was.
Mm-hmm.
And me and JL have been fighting over these guns for a long time. Matter of fact, I had to do his job for him. He told me since Brad is the one I had spoke to and told him they was my guns, that I needed to get hold of Brad and have Brad call Galloway, and then Galloway would call him. And through the whole process, I kept telling him, because I called Walmart, and they told me that they kept it on record. But I was not allowed to get it. That only the state police is allowed to go get that information. But the prosecuting attorney has to send them to get that information. JL has refused the whole time to send a state police to Elkins
Or
to
even
look at
call.
paperwork.
Are you saying that they could just make a telephone call and get that answer?
Yes.
But JL won't do that?
No. No, he won't.
Why do you think he won't do that? It looks like a simple thing.
I have no
They can
idea.
go all the way to Lewisburg, and it looks like they could go to Elkins.
I have no idea.
But they're holding the guns based on some supposition that
Well, he's changed
they're
his
not.
stories.
JL changed his story?
JL has changed his story numerous times.
What's his current story?
The first reason he said that I couldn't have the guns was because I said there was weapons in the house on 911 tape. And then he turned around and said, well, the reason you can't have the guns is because Jesse pled guilty to it.
To being in possession.
To be in possession of the guns. So therefore, you can't have them.
But you are not even married, right?
No.
Mm-hmm. How did they figure he was in possession of them if the guns were yours and owned by you? Did you lose your right to carry a gun?
No. Well, after all this happened with me calling the sheriff and telling him that Brad was not doing his job, all of a sudden Brad's changed his story.
Oh, another story now.
He is now saying that I told him the guns belong to Jesse. And JL said there is officers that I told this to. I spoke to two of them. I spoke to Galloway and I spoke to Brad. And my daughter was in here when I give him the one gun that I kept telling him was registered in my name.
Right.
Well, I told him I wanted a lie detector test.
Wow.
I said, I want to take a lie detector test and Brad needs to take one. And he said, like, Brad's not a criminal, therefore I'm not giving him a lie detector test. And he said, you know, I can charge you.
Now who said that? JL?
This is JL, yes.
Okay.
And now he's saying he can charge me because I told these officers that I didn't even speak to that the guns belong to Jesse. So we arranged a meeting to where I would be able to confront Brad. But when JL and I spoke about it, I told him that I was going to be there, my daughter was going to be there, that Jesse would be there, and Jesse's attorney, because when they fined Jesse the $1,000, JL told both Jesse and the attorney that I could get my guns back. Well, he calls on a Monday, and he's like, we're setting this meeting up for Wednesday for you and Tiffany. Just me and my daughter.
He didn't want an attorney there.
No, he didn't want nobody else there.
He didn't want Jesse there.
He didn't want Jesse there. He said just me and my daughter. He said I never mentioned anything about anybody else coming. And he said that it would be him, the sheriff, Brad, and a couple other officers. Well, that is when I went and spoke to my boss. Because I had wrote a letter to the editor regarding all of this. And
That was a letter to the Pocahontas Times,
to
right?
Pocahontas Times,
Did
yes.
they ever publish that letter?
no, she took it to the sheriff. And I've got an email where she sent and told me that she took it to the sheriff, and the sheriff felt that they had took care of it, and the matter was over with. And she
So the letter never got published.
she refused to publish it. But anyway, this little meeting that was supposed to go on that Wednesday, I went and spoke to my boss. Of course, they all know what's going on down there, the people I work with, and you know, they keep telling.
You work for a newspaper, don't you?
Yeah, I work for the Mountain Messenger.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, they keep telling me, you need to move out of that county and come down here and live. Because something's just not right up there. But I called JL back and I told him, I said, you know, me and my daughter's not going to be able to make that meeting because my attorney is not going to be able to be there. And I'm not coming without an attorney.
You have a right to have an attorney present with you whenever you're being interrogated with a potential for an arrest, right?
I'm assuming that's what they was going to do to me. That they was going to interrogate me and then turn around and charge me for lying to them because these officers that I supposedly talked to.
But now, did you not talk to Galloway, and what did he say?
I spoke to Galloway. Yes, I called Galloway and I said, you know, did I speak to you about any guns? And he said, no, you didn't. And I said, well, JL's now saying that I spoke to officers about these weapons. And he said, well, you never spoke to me about it.
Well, then who's the other officer in this?
Officers. There's
Yeah.
S on there. I don't know. That I have no idea.
This is sort of a mystery officer, right?
Yeah.
It wasn't Galloway, and you only talked to
I talked to Galloway and I talked to Brad.
And well, officers sound like it'd be two of them, doesn't it?
There was 8 of them here, but I only spoke to 2.
Uh-huh. And Galloway says that there was no discussion of who owned the guns, right?
Yeah, him and I did not discuss the guns at all. It was Brad and I that did.
Okay.
And also, Brad went to the high school to question my daughter whether I had a shotgun.
Now, wait a minute. Your daughter's 16 years old, right?
Yes, she is.
And you had a concern about that interrogation occurring at school?
Yes, because I called a lawyer, and it is a law that any child 16 and under, that they have to have a parent's consent or the parent be there before the police can talk to them. Well, that didn't happen that day. They let him talk to her, and what she said when he walked in the door, the first thing he said was, your mom's not getting her guns back until Jesse moves out of the house. Now this is the same person that's saying,
This was Brad.
this is Brad. This
Okay.
is the same person that's stories now that I told him they weren't my guns.
Right.
And he questioned her about whether I had a shotgun. And him and I had spoke that evening he was here, and I asked him if I could get a gun. And he said yes, I could, but I had to keep it locked in my vehicle. It had to stay away from Jesse.
Which you have been doing.
Yes. So I call him and I leave a message on his machine that evening. I said, you know, if you want to know something, call and ask me. Yes, I do have a shotgun. If you remember our discussion, you told me that I could have a gun. And I said, it is in my vehicle.
Which is where he told you to put it.
Yes, it is.